Good morning, everybody. So, sir, with your permission and ma'am's permission, should we start today's workshop, sir? This is this workshop on Sujlam Bharat. This is a workshop which is based on themes related to rejuvenation of rivers and springs. This is the fourth workshop in this series for Ministry of Jal Shakti, and would help in formulating the vision of the organization and vision of the ministry going forward. And the workshop has been designed to take inputs from grassroots level to work out the policy guidelines going forward. With this background, I'll invite Dheeraj Joshi to give his welcome address for the conference.
Thank you, sir. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Ms. Archana Verma ma'am, MD and WM, Shri Rajiv Kumar Mittal sir, DG NMCG, and all senior officers from states and UTs to the workshop on rejuvenation of rivers and springs, being organized under the broader framework of Departmental Summit on Vision for Sujlam, which is scheduled for today. This workshop is being convened in alignment with the Honorable PM's directive to host departmental summits aimed at gathering insights from the grassroots on the implementation and the impact of national and state level policies. The Ministry of Jal Shakti is privileged to anchor this important initiative, with the summit itself to be held in November 2025 under the chairmanship of the Honorable Minister of Jal Shakti. The theme of today's workshop is Rejuvenation of Rivers and Spring, and is being coordinated by National Mission for Clean Ganga. We look forward to engaging discussions, thoughtful feedback, and collaborative insights that will contribute meaningfully to shaping the vision of a water-secure and ecologically vibrant Sujlam Bharat. We extend our sincere thanks to all the states and the UT representatives for their active participation and continued support. Your contributions are vital to this collective journey. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dheeraj, for your welcome address. Now I would invite Madam Archana Verma to give her opening remarks for this conference.
Thank you, and welcome Rajiv and team NMCG and all the senior officers and grassroots field functionaries, mid-level IS officers to this very important workshop on rejuvenation of rivers and springs. Dheeraj has already mentioned that these workshops are being held because of the direction of Honorable PM in the 4th Chief Secretary's Conference meeting, that 6 sectors should organize, 6 thematic workshops. Ours is called the Sujlam workshop, and mind you, the culminated and the holistic ideas from all of you will be collated, and it will be deliberated on 28th and 29th November under Honorable Minister Jal Shakti, Shri C.R. Patil ji. And then all the recommendations will then be collated and put before the Honorable Prime Minister in the 5th Chief Secretary's Conference, which is scheduled to be held in December 1st week. So you can imagine the importance which Honorable PM is giving to voices from the field. His specific directions are, and there are specific templates circulated by the Niti Aayog, where he wants that it is the grassroots field workers or the mid-level IS officers, the scientists, the engineers, the panchayat members, whose voices should be informed in policy making, and we should not go ahead unless we understand the challenges that they face in the field. So आपको समझ में आ गया होगा कि कितना importance Honorable Prime Minister इस चीज को दे रहे हैं कि जो सबकी आवाज है वो सुनी जाए, क्योंकि हम तो अब आर्म चेयर हो गए हैं, बहुत सालों से हमारा फील्ड एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, तो हम बहुत चीजें सोचते हैं कि मैजिकली हो जाएगा, हम पॉलिसी डायरेक्टिव दे देंगे तो, बट उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना, उसमें उसको अच्छे से निभाना, उसका कार्यान्वयन होना कितना कठिन है, कितना मुश्किल है, ये ज्ञात है ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर को। इसलिए वो उन्होंने एक मौका दिया है इस सेक्टर को कि आप लोगों की आवाजें सुनी जाए और आप लोगों की आवाजें उन तक पहुंचाई जाए। सो that is why I keep on saying, बाकी तो धीरज has already explained कि कैसे templates में आप लोगों को अपलोड करना है 15 अक्टूबर तक, states और बाकी templates जो हम circulate किए हैं, और उसका यूजर आईडी पासवर्ड हम शेयर कर चुके हैं। स्टेट नोडल ऑफिसर्स ऑफ जल शक्ति अभियान इसके नोडल अधिकारी हैं, और हर थीमेटिक वर्कशॉप को होने के बाद उसको नीति आयोग के पोर्टल पे अपलोड होना है। और मैं जो स्पीकर्स के नाम और ये देख रही हूँ, एनएमसीजी को रियली बधाई देना चाहूंगी कि उन लोगों ने इतने अच्छे से, इतना होलिस्टिकली हर किसी को इन्वॉल्व किया है। And rivers, so as you all know that in the Indian culture, rivers have been really revered as mother goddesses, and folk songs, music, dance, and a whole host of culture has revolved around our rivers, not only in India, also abroad. But because of increasing, population density, increasing urbanization, mindless consumption, and unbridled industrialization, which is not water friendly, unsustainable habits of ours, are putting a lot of pressure on the rivers. But it is not only the quality aspect of the river, like Namami Gange and all such river programs are mainly trying to ensure good quality of water in the rivers. But also what should be discussed today, according to me, is also how to maintain the eco flow, how to ensure that, encroachments don't happen, near the rivers, and not just management of grey water and ensuring that clean water flows, but also the other aspects of rivers, like their culture, how it can become a bond for communities to come together, and how also rivers can become means of livelihoods. All are aspects of Namami Gange, which has these pillars, which you will know more than me. But the emphasis should not only be on STPs and effluents and stopping them, but also this whole, since we are getting an opportunity, it should be around the whole river ecosystem and its interaction both with human civilization and also with the ecology. So I look forward to hearing from the deliberations, but the proof of the pudding is that there should be no very specific suggestions which we can put forth before Honorable PM in the 5th Chief Secretary's conferences. So what I would urge is that while you can share best practices, while you can आप लोग अपनी तारीफ कर सकते हैं और अपने अचीवमेंट्स बता सकते हैं, बट जो टेम्पलेट्स का जो हमारे को दिया गया है और जो मूड ऑफ द वर्कशॉप है कि आप अपने चैलेंजेस भी बताएं, उनके सॉल्यूशंस भी बताएं और वे अहेड भी बताएं, और क्या करने से हमारा पूरा रिवर रिजुविनेशन and springs northeast states में, hilly states में, they are the most important source of groundwater, और नीति आयोग के जो studies हैं वो बता रहे हैं कैसे the Himalayan springs are drying up because of the impact of climate change and also because of these over extraction सब्सिडेंस हो रहा है हिली एरियाज में. अभी हम लोग सब देख ही रहे हैं उत्तराखंड, हिमाचल में कितना प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ वन ऑफ द बिग रीजंस इज कि हम ग्राउंड वाटर को एक्सट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम अपने वाटर बॉडीज को बचा नहीं पा रहे हैं, उनको एनक्रोच कर रहे हैं. सो फ्लड प्लेन जोनिंग एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट इशू है रिवर के हेल्थ के लिए. 25% ऑफ वाटर फ्लो इन द रिवर्स ऑलवेज इज ऑल्सो बहुत जरूरी है. लाइवलीहुड्स जैसे कि कुछ स्टेट्स ने और नमामि गंगे ने भी बहुत सारे एक्टिविटीज किए हैं जिसमें रिवर ऑल्सो बिकम्स अ सोर्स फॉर सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड फॉर पीपल. So I look forward to the deliberations and really thank you for giving me this opportunity. And over to you, Rajiv.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for explaining the significance of this workshop and giving the overall context of this deliberation. With this, I will invite Sri Rajiv Kumar Mittal, sir, Director General NMCG, to give his presentation and setting the context for this workshop. Sir.
Nalin, and thank you, Ashna Madam, for setting the context for today's session. As you have covered almost all the background about why rivers are important, so I will immediately shoot off from the issues and the way forward we are looking forward in the conference. Next slide, please. As Madam has explained, the focus of this session, the focus of today's workshop, we have not kept only on the river water quality. We have tried to cover all the issues affecting rivers holistically. So basically, as we see from the Namami Gange experiences, there are three key issues. One is, of course, river water quality. Second is the lean season flow. And third is the protection of the river systems. When we say river system, it means floodplains, the riparian zones, the catchment area, the wetlands, and the aquatic wildlife inhabiting those river systems. Next. This is just to give an idea about what kind of position is in India in rivers. I mean, as per the CPCB's 222 report, almost 311 stretches are polluted in one form or other. The latest CPCB report has also come, but we are examining it. That's why I'm not quoting those figures as of now. And same is the issue reflected in the sewage treatment capacity. Almost, if you look at in terms of only 25% of the sewage is treated up to the standards. So this is the situation. Next. Now, when we look at the response to these issues, when we look at the response to the issue of the river water quality, the obvious response is the creation of the sewage treatment capacity, the industrial effluent treatment capacity. When we look at the problem of the minimum flows, we have to ensure environmental flows. So I'm sorry that E is missing in the environmental flows. And when we look at the river system, I mean, it is very important that the river's connectivity is maintained. The river has connectivity in 3 dimensions. It's a longitudinal connectivity, it's lateral connectivity to its floodplains, and of course, it's vertical connectivity to the groundwater. So all these connectivities are maintained, and this is broadly the response, the theme of the response, which is required when we try to rejuvenate the river. Next slide, please. Now, what are the challenges? I mean, problems are straightforward, defined, responses are very clear defined. But as we realize while working in the Namami Gange, one of the basic flaws in the system which is not enabling a good response, one is the governance. I mean, since all our officials here, I mean, if we have to look forward, when we look in the state, I mean, which is the department which is responsible for maintaining the quality of the river? I mean, it's a very difficult answer to say. It's a somewhere an intersection of water resources department, urban development department, and environment department. The response is clearly lying and oscillating between these 3 departments. And absence of a clearly defined mechanism actually hampers our ability to deal with the rivers. So this is wherein authority like Namami Gange, and we will see during the day of presentation, many states are also attempt to find a unified response authority for the rivers. becomes a very important issue. Second is anthropogenic pressure. As our populations are increasing, so is the issues of abstraction of water and encroachment. It is encroachment of the floodplains, encroachment in the catchment areas. Everything is disturbing river. And third fundamental thing, which we realize while working in Namami Gange is river literacy. There are so many, though we river as a goddess, everything, but when it comes to the practical aspects of river, the understanding of the river is very poor. For example, floods we see as floods, but we don't see that flood is a natural phenomena of the river. It's an annual exercise by which river performs its flushing function. Look at meandering. Many people feel that meandering wastes the land, wastes the area. Very few realize that meandering is a natural aspect of river. And for river to perform its function, the meanderness of the river becomes very important. So all these challenges are actually very important in terms of when we try to form a integrated response towards the river rejuvenation. Next slide, please. So when we try to summarize the overall response towards rejuvenation of river, from the Government of India side, we have a Namami Gange program, which is focused on the Ganga Basin. We have CAMP Healthy Rivers program from the National River Conservation Directorate, which is targeting rivers of Godavari, Narmada, Mahananda, Kaveri, and Krishna. And then, of course, there are multiple state initiatives, which we will be hearing from all the speakers during the course of the day. So I will be focusing here.
Can I just interrupt? I'm so sorry. Because since everybody is here, I'm taking this opportunity to also say that this year's Jal Shakti Abhiyan's, focus is on 13 DPRs, which has been made by the Ministry of Forest and which was inaugurated by both our ministers in 2022. Now, these 13 DPRs are for the rivers other than Ganga. So these 13 DPRs we have, circulated to the states because they are focus areas under the Jal Shakti Abhiyan. They basically look at three aspects of river: the urban aspect, the natural aspect, and I think the agricultural aspect of rivers. So here, Karan Singh, who is Joint Secretary NRCD. Karan, are you there? Okay, so Karan Singh, Joint Secretary NRCD, is the nodal officer who's coordinating from the ministry side, and Mr. Shiv Mohan Dikshit is coordinating from the NWM side, and from I think DIG Baljit is coordinating from the MOEFCC sides. So briefly, what is happening is that the DPRs have been prepared. Now the states and the districts have to implement that. Resources have to be converged, and CAMPA is one of the most important source of funding. MG Narega is also an important source of funding. So it is to happen through convergence. So since this is a 30,000-40,000 crore DPRs which have been made, I'm requesting the states to please, also see to it that these 13 DPRs which are now under the nodal NRCD is also taken up and pushed in your states. Because we have to present before the Cabinet Secretary every year the progress made on Jal Shakti Abhiyan, Catch the Rain. And 2025 we will have to at least give a few parameters on the progress which has been made on the DPR. Of course, 35,000 crores cannot be spent in a day and resources cannot be mobilized so easily. But I would request you to also look at it when you're looking at CAMP. There may be some duplication. So please have a healthy look at these 13 DPRs. Thank you. Sorry, Rajiv, but this was important and I was not getting an opportunity to speak about it.
No, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. Thanks for the inputs. It is also a part towards the river conservation efforts. So As we were discussing, what is the current state of affairs in the country towards the rejuvenation of the rivers? So basically, we have the Namami Gange program, which is dealing with the Ganga Basin. Then we are planning a Camp Healthy Rivers program, which is dealing with the 5 basins in the South India: Godavari, Narmada, Mahananda, Kaveri, and Krishna. And of course, then there are a lot of state initiatives, which we will be hearing during the course of today's discussion from various speakers. And I will be mainly focusing on the Namami Gange program, rivers program. Next slide. So the Namami Gange program, I mean, broadly, the approach is towards the pollution aspect of the river, the ecology and the flow of the river people connect, the people's participation, research policy and knowledge management. So as Archana Madam pointed in her initial brief, I mean, it is not only about the pollution. I mean, pollution, of course, is a major aspect, but all other aspects are equally important. So this is an integrated mission, and it follows the river basin management principle and tries to integrate all the aspects towards the river management. Next. So in terms of governance structure, I mean, this is something I think all states must look at. It has a very, very unified governance structure, starting from the National Ganga Council, which is led by the Honorable Prime Minister. Then we have state Ganga committees, which are led by the chief secretaries of the states. And then we have a district Ganga committees, which are headed by the district magistrates. And all this plan is based on a Ganga River Basin Management Plan 2015, which has been prepared by consortium of IITs. I must say this is one of the hallmarks of this Namami Gange program. That entire program is very scientific in an approach and follows a completely technical approach towards dealing the various issues and the problems. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of sewage treatment, few of the innovations which the Namami Gange program has steered or pioneered. One is the hybrid annuity model, and second is about the various innovations in terms of solar powering and nature-based solutions and all those kind of aspects. It is very important to focus on the hybrid annuity model. One part I think is missing in the presentation is the IND approach. See, all the municipalities are plants, but you know, when you are dealing with the river, it is very important to have a clear focus whether we are building the sewer network for the city or whether the objective is to stop the flow of the sewage city into the river. So Namami Gange program, instead of focusing on the sewers in the city, exclusively focus on the IND approach. So whatever drains and nalas were going into the river, they were intercepted and the flow was diverted into the STPs. We didn't go for the traditional sewerage networks because we all know sewerage takes a lot of time and is very, very slow moving kind of exercise. Second is hybrid annuity model. This is another notable feature of the Namami Gange program. When we build a STP, we go for a life cycle cost. The entire bidding is done for the capex as well as 15 years O&M. So the contractor who is building the STP has the skin in the game, and he ensures that the STPs run properly. And the offshoot is it also leads to a lot of innovation because these people try to minimize their O&M cost for 15 years, which results in a lot of innovation. Now, in terms of the second part of the problem, preserving the entire river system, I mean, we are taking activities towards wetlands, we are taking activities for biodiversity conservation, we are also into afforestation. Biodiversity is a very important aspect of river conservation. As Archana Madam was telling, focusing only on STP is one part of the game. But the other part of the game is to restore the river's ecology, the entire ecosystem. So all these activities, though may come at a later stage, ultimately are going to help in terms of the restoration of the river. Next slide, please. Similarly, we can take along biodiversity parks in the floodplain areas. Then floodplain zoning is also very important. And of course, e-flows. I think most of you will be aware that Ganga is one of the only rivers in the country which has an e-flow notification. E-flow is basically a concept where all the dams, all the hydropower stations, any structure which is obstructing water in the river is mandated to release a certain quantity of water so that a minimum flow in the water is ensured. So River Ganga has 12 structures and all these 12 structures are mandated to release a certain pre-notified amount of water in the river so that e-flow is maintained. And there is a very robust monitoring system for ensuring inflow so that water is maintained. Next slide. Now, this is in terms of the people connect. How do we connect the youth and the people towards the various activities of the Ganga program? Next slide. And again, as I mentioned, the whole Namami Gange program has a very, very strong focus on research and development and knowledge creation. I mean, you all will realize when you start looking for a river, the knowledge about the river is very poor. I mean, when I say knowledge about the river is very poor, I mean the kind of biodiversity which exists in the river, the kind of various mappings which are required in terms of fauna, flora, everything is missing. So having a very, very strong scientific and knowledge kind of a background for river management is very important. Next. Now, these are some of the results, the way we monitor the program, because obviously any program which aims at restoration has to have a very, very strong metrics to determine the trajectory and the results. So this is how the river is progressing, the quality of the river. The quality of the river is showing improvements almost in all stretches. The other outcome is the biomonitoring. We also monitor, besides the pollution, the kind of wildlife which exists in the river. That is also giving satisfactory results. And the third is a dolphin. I mean, dolphin is the keystone species for the river Ganga. And we are very happy to say that since the Namami Gange program has been launched, the presence of dolphin has increased both in numbers as well as in the spatial distribution. The tributaries and the other parts where it has gone extinct, now it has started reappearing. Next slide. So this was about Ganga, and now I'm talking about the other activity from the National River Conservation Directorate, which is a Healthy Rivers program. This is a program which is being conceived, though some initial activities in terms of condition assessment, etc., have already started. The camp plans, the Healthy River programs under NRCD will be focusing on the 6 river basins: the Narmada Basin, the Mahanadi Basin, Godavari Basin, Krishna, Kaveri, and a very small Periyar Basin in the Kerala. So it tries to sort of capture the main features of the Namami Gange program. And at the same time, it also tries to overcome the shortcomings of the Namami Gange program. So this is planned as program for results. A certain kind of indicators will be set for the states. Next slide, please. And based on the fulfillment of those activities, there will be certain DLIs which will measure the outcomes. And based on the fulfillment of outcomes and the performance in the outcomes, a certain incentives will be released to the states. Next slide. So as of now, it is planned to be around a 1 billion program in 2 phases, 40% loan and 60% grants from the government of India. And we have been discussing these plans with almost all the states. And we hope to see soon that this program will be launched. Next. So with this, I would like to end my initial context setting. This is how. So we have, in this presentation, we have tried to capture briefly the small efforts which are being taken by Government of India towards river basins. And now, as Archana Madam has explained and Nalin has also explained, the session is for the states. So we would like to hear from the states about the various initiatives which they are doing and what we can learn from them and take it forward as a part of the national policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very interesting presentation and setting the context for this workshop. Now, as sir has said, we'll turn to states. First state is the state of Uttarakhand. From Uttarakhand, we have 2 presenters, Mr. Vishal Mishra, Project Director from State Mission for Clean Ganga, Uttarakhand. And also we have Naveen Singh Barpal, who is Deputy Director at Spring and River Rejuvenation Authority in the state of. So these 2 will present on various aspects related to spring shed management and governance framework. So without further delay, I'll invite Vishal to start his presentation.
Thanks a lot.
Over to you, Vishal.
Thanks a lot, sir. Respected DG sir, respected Mission Director ma'am, and all the respected seniors and colleagues who have joined this workshop. First thing I would like to convey my thank you to the Namami Gange department that we have been given this opportunity to present the best practices of the Uttarakhand, as it is very important to conserve our rivers, springs, and overall watershed, it is important to have some dedicated authority. And Uttarakhand government has taken a new initiative in this regard and created Spring and River Rejuvenation Authority, which is called as SARA, whose main purpose is to have uh, overall management in whole watershed area, so as not to think in a part, but to think as a whole. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. For the Indian Himalayan for Indian Himalayan region, it is important that these Himalayas are feeding whole of the north area. So, but this Himalayan region is facing the problem of retreating glaciers, drying rivers, and drying springs, ultimately, which is affecting the overall health of the river. And unfortunately, rivers are also struggling to maintain the proper flow. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Unmute myself.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
You are audible.
Sir, but presentation is not visible, sir.
Vishalji, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir. So I was talking about that our glaciers are retreating, our rivers are drying, and springs are very much facing the threat from various issues. As a result, our rivers are not able to maintain the proper e-flow and environmental flow, and overall affecting the flora and fauna of the river. Next slide, please. So recently, Uttarakhand has faced erratic rainfall, which all of us know, and as a result, various infrastructure projects are hampered. Basic lifeline of the state has been hampered, and the community is the worst victim of this erratic rainfall. So these are few issues where we are struggling. One of the main issues is that all the government departments were working in the silos, and this SARA authority has created as an overarching authority, as umbrella authority, where not just functional delegation was done, but the financial delegation was also be done at the ground level, which will be explained in the next slide. So, though we are focusing the lack of the focused approach, but now with the coming of this authority, all departments have come under the same umbrella, and now we are working in a same frequency and the same page. And also, it is very important to have the capacity building of all the stakeholders, because not all departments are having the same kind of skills, same kind of knowledge base. So SARA has been very much useful for creating a knowledge base and percolating that knowledge base down to the ground level. Next slide, please. So this is the overall administrative structure. It start from the village level and goes to the chief secretary level. And from the village, we have Dhara and Nola Sanrakshan Samiti. These samitis are very much helpful for identification of the critical water sources, where they are observing that which water source is not able to maintain their flow, and they have witnessed the drastic reduction in the water quality and quantity. Then there is a app, Bhagirathi app, where these departments and also these ground level, village level committees are helping to report these kind of variations, these kind of adverse impact. Now these reporting is done to the district magistrate, secretary level, and highest level at the chief secretary level. And each of these committees are given some financial power, so that they can act upon the suggestions and act upon the projects which are needed for rejuvenation of the springs and rivers. Next slide, please. So this is the explanation of the how we proceed in this authority. First is identification of the water sources, springs and streams. Then, out of all the knowledge base which we received from different department and common man, we try to identify what are the critical water sources and what are the corresponding recharge zone for these critical water sources. And then we start planning that how we can improve these recharge zone, how we can have a treatment plants. So for that, we consult all the department, whether it is forest, Jal Nigam, Jal Sansthan, developmental authority, municipal corporation, so that all must have us on the same page. Then we start implementation of the treatment intervention, and after that, we have empaneled third party institute like NIH, National Institute of Hydrology, IIT Roorkee, and various state institutes, which help us to analyze what interventions we have taken and what is their impact. Next, please. So this is the initiative we have taken so far. As I explained in the last slide, the best part is that we have the scope for the community mobilization for the identification and treatment of the sustainable management of the water resources. So community is not left in this process. As a result, it is very much sustainable. And we have started the Jal Sanrakshan Abhiyan also. Next slide, please. So once we are starting the mapping of these catchment area, these are the thematic themes under which we are mapping the whole catchment: the climate, rainfall, hydrogeology, geomorphology, what is the slope, whether it is landslide prone, what is the nature of the soil, rocks, land use, land cover, how the land use, land cover has changed in last 10 years, recharge potential area mapping. So we are using the GIS technology so as to have the complete knowledge of the catchment. Next slide, please. So these are a few glimpses of the field work, and these are the layers of the whole catchment which we are using for the planning and execution. Next. Honorable CM sir has issued this Jal Sanrakshan Abhiyan and the standard operating procedure so as to have the wider publicity of this initiative and to attach the common man with this program. Next, please. What we have done so far, we have identified rivers and streams close to 300, springs which are feeding the rivers and streams close to 6,350, and groundwater recharge site 57. So we are also trying to analyze how much rainwater harvesting capacity we have generated and how much recharge we have done up to December 2024. Right now, we are also trying to analyze impact for this year also. Next. This is a community initiative where Dhara Mera, Naula Mera, Gaon Mera, Prayas Mera. This is a campaign where we are trying to attract and attach the common man with this program, and we are utilizing the local knowledge, their local language, so as to have the proper connection between Prashasan and the common man. Next, please. We have developed an Android app, Bhagirathi, where department and common man, anybody can report what is the water source, how it is bad, how good or bad it is, whether its water quality is poor, whether its water quantity is decreasing, and based on that, we are planning and improving these resources. Next, please. This is the data which we receive from this app, and where community has reported and the department also reported whether 80% water quantity is reduced, whether 60 to 80% is reduced. Based on that, we are able to identify, of course, after verification at the ground, we are able to identify what are the critical water sources. Next, please. So this is our ongoing activities. We have 521 critical water sources for the drinking water schemes, as the Jal Jeevan mission is also going on. So what we are trying to have to coordinate between Jal Jeevan mission scheme and this SARA, because various sources are feeding the common man at large in the villages. So we are identifying these sources. We are identifying these sources that the ground village drinking water scheme should not be adversely affected. Next, please. We have also, as I explained earlier, that we are utilizing the expertise of NIH Roorkee and IIT Roorkee, also the Central Groundwater Board. So they are helping us to perform better. Next, please. This is what we have. I am requesting that please play a small documentary of 2 minutes so as to benefit all of us.
हाँ, क्योंकि मेरे को पार्टी को भी पेमेंट करना है, आगे फोन आ रहे हैं पार्टी।
This is the Song River, which ultimately falls into the river Ganga, and we have done various projects on this river.
So next speaker from Sara.
We both were joined together.
Okay. So thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. In fact, I would like to highlight that Uttarakhand has been the best performing state in Namami Gange program. And because of their interventions and initiatives, Ganga has become non-polluted in the entire stretch of Uttarakhand. This is a great achievement, and I would like that the similar kind of situation occurs across the state. So with this, I think we would like to congratulate the team from Uttarakhand for wonderful initiatives in this regard. Now the next is from the state of Maharashtra. We are moving to from top of the country to the western part, and from Maharashtra we have got Miss Jashri Bhoj, IAS, Secretary Environment and Climate Change. She'll be speaking on reimagining governance for river water quality improvement. So over to you, Ms. Jasri Bhoj, for your presentation.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. At the outset, I would like to thank Namami Gange for giving us an opportunity to make this presentation. Unlike other success stories, what we are here, I'm here to present is what we have thought about looking at the challenges which we have been facing in combating the river pollution across the state. Next slide, please. As you all know, Maharashtra is a very important and is one of the bigger states in the country, and we have been an economic powerhouse. We have we contribute around 14% to the India's GDP, and we are a leader in the foreign direct investments. We are a very industrialized state, and we also have large exports. So this entire, the rapid urbanization, be it industrialization and agriculture, has started exerting heavy pressure on the river systems. So next slide. So if we look at the Maharashtra's physical geography. So we have around 878 kilometer of coastline, which has been critical for our economy and ecology, and which also support livelihoods. This covers around 7 districts, Mumbai metropolitan region, as well as other 5 coastal districts. But we are also blessed with 103 rivers, which has spread across 4 river basins. So if we look at the major river basins, we have Narmada River Basin, Tapi, Godavari, and Krishna River Basins. So if we look at all this, and we have also very extensive reservoirs, lakes, tank systems, which sustain our agriculture, our drinking water, as well as the biodiversity which is there. But these rivers and the coastline are very deeply connected. So we have found that the polluted rivers actually degrade the coastal and the marine ecosystems also. So the next slide. So if we look at the polluted river stretches, it is unfortunate that we have the highest number of polluted rivers in India. That is 55 out of the monitored, 56 river stretches which are monitored by the Central Pollution Control Board. So earlier it was in 2018, 53 stretches were there. However, it has increased to 56 in 24-25. If we look at the number of rivers, like the priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we have more stretches in priority 3 and 4. So that shows that, like we have to really work on our rivers. So if we look at this, so there have been, the heavily polluted stretches are the Mithi River, and which is the lifeline for Mumbai. Then there is Mudha, which is the lifeline for Pune. Then there is Bhima, Godavari, Savitri. These are the highly polluted stretches. So if we look at what are the key drivers, the pollution drivers, what actually pollutes this? There is untreated sewage, there is industrial effluents, there is agricultural runoff, solid waste, deforestation, sand mining. All these actually pollute. There is no one single reason which is actually polluting this. So this rivers, they actually, apart from this, they also serve for irrigation, the ecosystem, the livelihoods, the drinking water, all these are there. Next. So it's not that the state has not been doing enough. So if we look at the STPs also, we have actually 171 STPs installed. But however, if you look at the existing facility which is there and the gap which is there, that also has, there is a lot of gap like around, but the state has taken action and there are many STPs which are in progress. That is already 171 are installed, 115 have been proposed, so with additional 4,400 MLD. Apart from that, if you look, there is a gap also in the existing treatment facility and the installed capacity also. We are not able to fully use the capacity also, the installed capacity. So that if you look, 279.85 MLD is the total installed capacity. However, operational is 193.25. What I would try to highlight in this is that there is not only there is infrastructural gaps, but also there is a gap in the will. There is a lack of will, or there are a lot of operational problems which one faces when we are actually implementing this. So what actually happens is, the result is that there are several stretches which are critically polluted with very high BOD levels. So there are also very many unregulated activities like deforestation, sedimentation, encroachments which are happening because of rapid urbanization which is taking place. Next. So there are a lot of projects also which is being implemented across the state. So there are Panchaganga Action Plan, there is Godavari Action Plan, there is Chandrabhaga Action Plan. Then under the NRCB is also having Mudha River around 1700 crore project which is going on since 2016. Then there are also 2 more projects which we have submitted to the NRCD for funding, that is the Indrayani River we have submitted. There is also many there is also statutory setup which have been set up by the state government, like the Namami Chandrabhaga. However, this is under the divisional commissioner who is looking after this. What our experience has been is that even though these action plans have been prepared and these action plans are being worked on, however, we found that there was major gap in the implementation. Even after spending so much money, we have been unable to actually plug in the pollution level. So we thought, why we are not able to do it in spite of spending so much money. Next. So then when we analyze this, we saw that there are a lot of departments, as Rajiv Vittal sir was mentioning, there are a lot of departments which are involved in this. See, there are urban development department, there is rural development department, there is industries, there is even the irrigation department which looks at the water resources. So the multiplicity of departments also was leading to a lot of problems. So even the Mulamutha River, even after being monitored at the highest level by Government of India also, we found that the implementation has been very, very slow. This has been majorly because of lack of coordination among departments. Suppose an STP is to be made or a particular action in the action plan, a certain intervention is to be done. It takes months together to coordinate, and the money being given to the corporation, the municipal corporation, they are unable to influence the forest department, be it the agriculture department. So like this actually made us think that there is somewhere we are going wrong. And for that, we brainstormed over it, and we came up with this need, which was of a unified institutional response. For this unified institutional response, we have proposed, and the state government has actually approved formation of this Maharashtra State River Rejuvenation Authority, which will act as a unified force, a unified authority, which would be regulatory and development efforts which would be coordinated, and this authority will have a statewide jurisdiction. So this actually would coordinate between the departments. It will enhance the coordination, plus enforce the norms, then streamline the sewage and effluent management systems, then also enable scientific river basin planning, which as sir mentioned, which is lacking. Then we would also, through this, we are planning to ensure accountability and efficiency, and also we would have a sustained progress in river restoration and protection. Being a developed state and a progressive state, Maharashtra also has a lot of NGOs which are working. There are a lot of industries which actually pitch in for these CSR activities. So we wanted to, instead of focusing on isolated polluted stretches, which has been happening over the years, decades, we wanted to adopt an end-to-end treatment and a rejuvenation approach for the entire river system. So this actually would help in actually treating the pollution from where it is causing, and as well as the entire stretch, and we can actually help. This would help in rejuvenation. Which would also be thought of, this would help in facilitating the stakeholder engagement and also convergence of resources for long-term sustainability, which is needed when it comes to implementing such river rejuvenation programs, which actually flow through not a single district, but over 2-3 districts also. Next. So what we have proposed is have a statutory framework, which we have proposed under the Environment Protection Act 1986, Section 3, Clause 3 of this, which actually enables the central government to establish an authority. We have already sent this proposal to Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India. So this, once we get the approval, we would be constituting this Maharashtra River Rejuvenation Authority, which would establish, and the state would then notify this authority. So this is we have based this on similar to the state Ganga River Rejuvenation Conservation Authority, which has already been constituted in UP, Uttarakhand, and Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. We have next slide, please. So we have envisaged a three-tiered governance. So we would have an apex authority, which would be chaired by Honorable Chief Minister with key cabinet ministers. So we've thought that this would be monitored at the highest level. So we would have once in every quarter, we have proposed a meeting, and this authority would be, the apex authority would be providing which would set the strategy as well as approve major decisions and well as review the progress of these programs. And then we would also have the state executive committee, which would meet monthly, and this would be chaired by a Minister of Environment and Climate Change, Government of Maharashtra. So they would oversee all the projects as well as they would the monitor and execute also the program. This would also have other ministers, relevant ministers like forest as well as industry, which would help in monitoring these projects. Then we also thought that this being a very scientific intervention would be necessary. That's why we have actually thought of a dedicated secretariat under the pollution control board, which would have all the technical experts like the environmental engineers, financial managers, the legal advisors, planners, and others, and they would ensure the strategy execution and technical rigor for this river rejuvenation. Next slide, please. So this we have thought, if you look at the what actually we have envisaged, is that it would be a nodal authority which would approve, coordinate, and monitor all the river rejuvenation projects, even CSR included. So what we have thought of that even mobilizing any funds and for expanding the water quality monitoring, it would be only through this that they would be able to initiate even the CSR activities. And also we have thought of that community role would be very important in doing this. So we have to drive the public participation, and the civil society would be a very important pillar in implementation of this rejuvenation program. Next. So the financial strategy, if you look at, so we have a very, we are going in for a blended funding approach where we are combined government allocations, the multilateral funds, and as well as CSR, so that there would be efficiency and sustainability, and also we can scale it up at a larger level. So there are also, as Uttarakhand was mentioning, as well as Archana ma'am was mentioning, that there are a lot of departmental funds also which are there. So convergence of these departmental funds as well as MPCB also collects lot of the pollution control board collects lot of fines and other things, so that we can route it through this authority to pump it back into the system so that we can have the programs implemented well. Then also we are planning to leverage the multilateral and the bilateral funding, external funding also, and then convergence of schemes as well as CSR mobilization also, with the prior approval of this authority will the CSR funding be channelized through to this. So this is what we have thought of, and we are actually we have sent the proposal and we are ready, and we think that this approach would help in combating the pollution which is spreading very fast in Maharashtra. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for a wonderful presentation from Maharashtra. One point which emerges from this presentation and which can be learned by all the states in non-Ganga Basin is to create a similar kind of authority which can drive the river rejuvenation process as Maharashtra has done in the state. This would be a kind of a pioneering initiative, and NRCD can take this up further. A good point to learn. Now from Maharashtra, we would be moving to the next state, which is Sikkim. Dr. Sandeep Tambe, Principal Secretary, Government Department of Science and Technology, Government of Sikkim, would be presenting on mitigation measures towards climate risks for water systems. Over to you, Dr.
Yeah, very
Tambe.
good morning to all the dignitaries and participants. It is an honor and pleasure to share some of the initiatives taken by the government of Sikkim to tackle a new hazard. So till now we were looking at water as a life giver. So I would like to share how climate risk can convert this life giver into a hazard. So this presentation talks about glacier lake outburst floods, which are emerging as a new climate change hazard across the Himalayas. And I wanted to share some of the learnings from the South Lonak glacial flood that hit the state of Sikkim in October 2023. And it was highlighted as a new emerging disaster and a wake-up call for the entire nation, especially for the Himalayan states. And this is largely the framework of today's presentation. So I will be sharing how the government of Sikkim responded to this new threat, how science, policy, practice, innovation was integrated in trying to develop the response. Next slide, please. So in terms of the impact, the glacial flood is very difficult to imagine. You can imagine it like a 15 to 20 meters high wall of water cascading down your river valley. So it is 15 to 20 meters high, and it can totally devastate the dams, the rivers, the bridges, all the habitations. So it is something which is very difficult to imagine. Most of the mountain infrastructure was not designed for this kind of a disaster. And how it comes is with global warming, our glaciers are receding faster. And because of that, the lakes are becoming bigger and bigger. And that is how this kind of disaster happens. So in the context of Sikkim, the South Lonak glacial flood of 2023, just the quantifiable damage came to something like 18,000 crores as it devastated our hydel projects, the roads, the defense infrastructure, and also the forestry ecosystems. So for a small state like Sikkim, where our annual capital outlay is 5,000 crores, this kind of a disaster actually pushed the state's development back by more than a decade. And this disaster is not just in the context of Sikkim. Across the Himalayas, we have, as Central Water Commission has highlighted, 20,000 glacial lakes. And out of these 10%, that is 2,000 of these glacial lakes pose very high risk. So this is a new kind of disaster. And what is unique in this disaster is, unlike earthquakes, unlike cyclones, unlike hurricanes, we can actually mitigate this disaster. That is where there is a big role for government agencies to try and mitigate the GLOF risk for the nation. Next slide, please. So after the GLOF, the state was totally unprepared for this kind of disaster. And after that, the government had a vision that how we can safeguard Sikkim from future GLOF events. Next slide, please. So the vision of the government was that in order to safeguard Sikkim, we need early warning systems so that the warnings can be given in time. But the main challenge that we felt was, how do we save mountain infrastructure, which is largely concentrated along the river valley. And our experience of the last 2 years is that once mountain infrastructure like roads, bridges, dams get devastated, it is very difficult and very costly to rebuild. Most of the portions of our Mangan district are still cut off even 2 years after the disaster. There is no space to actually construct the roads and bridges. And this disaster is actually posing a huge challenge to most of the central and state agencies to respond to that. So this was the main challenge that the state was facing. So what was the baseline status? Next slide, please. So if you look at what was happening before this disaster, most of the focus was on undertaking hazard assessment studies. The disaster management authorities were taking up preparedness exercises, and there was, in a way, mitigation was lacking. That how do we prevent this hazard from happening? And at the same time, since this is a new hazard, there were no benchmarks, no SOPs, no models that were available at the state or national level, which we could take recourse to. So this was the status before the hazard. Next slide, please. So the first step was to understand the hazard and to take up multidisciplinary studies to understand how we can actually prepare our mitigation plans. So these studies focused on 3 aspects. One is the water itself. The water in the lake is the hazard. How much is the volume of water? What is the stability of the terminal moraine, which is acting like a dam, and at the same time, what is the probability of an avalanche or a landslide falling into the lake, which can cause a Gulf event. So these were the studies that the state took up by integrating the various experts in the departments and in the central agencies to understand these kind of vulnerabilities that exist at the lake level, the volume of water, the stability of the terminal moraine, and the probability of mass movement into the glacial lake. Next slide, please. And also when we did these studies, we found that the way we had conceptualized the block, that it would come like a big bang, it would destroy everything on its path, create a lot of erosion in the upper reaches, and only when it reaches the foothills, it would subside and cause deposition. In our case, we came across very broad valleys in the upper reaches of the Lonak Valley, and we saw that a lot of deposition had actually happened in the upper reaches. Next slide, please. So if you zoom closer, you will find, and we were surprised to see that there were deposition of not only big boulders, but also of pebbles and cobbles and sand in one very vast flat plateau. So this kind of gave us an idea that probably the Gulf slowed down at this particular locality before it again gathered speed as it came down. So this also kind of improved our understanding on the propagation of a Gulf in the upper reaches, and this has implications for designing the mitigation. Next slide, please. So the most important step was, how do we integrate the science? So with the help of various experts in the state government, we could take up these studies, integrating morphometry studies, bathymetry studies, geophysical studies, and hydrological studies. And these were integrated to understand the field-based hazard situation of the lakes, so we could prioritize which are the lakes which require immediate intervention. And based on this, mitigation proposals could be developed. Next slide, please. So the next step was, because we didn't have a system in place, so what were the policy changes that were required at the state level? So the first step, as we didn't have all experts in one department, the government notified a whole of government approach, wherein central government and state government, 6 departments, the water resource department, science and technology department, disaster management department, forest department, and other departments joined hand under a integrated approach chaired by the chief secretary. And at the same time, there was no clarity that which department is the lead department to take responsibility of Gulf. So in the case of Sikkim, the science and technology department was notified as the main department by amending the business rules. And at the same time, a high profile commission was formed with top experts to guide the state government on the way forward. Yeah, next slide, please. And then in terms of now, after the scientific studies have been done, this science has to integrate into technology and into mitigation. So a 4-step approach was conceptualized, which is very similar to the health checkups that we do. First, we have a preliminary health checkup. So we did an assessment of all the lakes using remote sensing. And if all is found fine, then we only focus on those lakes where detailed field-based studies are required. So if the doctor says there are some detailed studies are required, then you go for maybe a liver test or a kidney test, something along those lines. And then these lakes which are prioritized for field studies, then based on the hazard assessment, mitigation plans are developed for execution. So this was the 4-step approach that was conceptualized. So in the preliminary assessment, the various scientific studies were carried out by the state teams jointly with the central teams. And these were done only for those lakes where we felt that these are high hazard lakes. We need to do a field-based assessment. These operations are very high altitude in nature, and that is the main challenge. So these operations were taken up at 17,000 feet, where these lakes are located at 5,000 meters. Next slide, please. So this 4-step approach actually helped us to prioritize and focus our energies on the high-risk lakes, and based on that, the mitigation plans could be prepared. One good approach you can say for this initiative was that it was an in-house affair where the state scientists, state engineers, and jointly with the central agencies, we did it on our own. So it helped in building a lot of local capacities at the state level. Next slide. So what is it that we achieved? So the first step that we achieved was, out of 320 glacial lakes in the state, based on remote sensing studies jointly with NDMA, 16 lakes were prioritized as high risk. So for the 16 lakes, field-based comprehensive hazard assessment studies were carried out. Most of these lakes are on the international border, bordering with China. Next slide. So just to give you an idea about the size of these lakes, most of these lakes have a volume of around 40 to 50 million cubic meters of water, and their size is around to the size of 70 to 80 hectares. So these are massive lakes which are growing very fast because they are glacier terminating lakes. So as the glacier recedes, the lakes become bigger and bigger. So these are some of the lakes where we have done some intensive studies. The uniqueness of this particular lake is that it doesn't have a natural outlet. So millions of cubic meters of water is actually seeping through the terminal moraine, creating a future hazard in terms of the terminal moraine actually disintegrating. Next slide, please. So some of the plans, and this lake is very close to the Thangu village and the defense establishments, and they are just 15 kilometers away. So there is very little chance of early warning, and so we need to provide a mitigation approach for this particular lake. Next slide. So we have prepared a plan to use solar pumping to reduce the water of this lake, and we hope that with this the hazard will be reduced. So various safeguards will be inbuilt when this project is initiated. Next slide. Another approach that we are exploring is, instead of working at each and every lake which is at 5,000 meters, is it possible that we can make one structure which can actually safeguard the state from multiple lakes? So in this initiative, we have identified one location called Dolma Sampa, where in one shot, if we make a retention structure which can be multi-purpose, we can safeguard the state from almost 150 lakes in one go. Next slide, please. So based on the hydrodynamic modeling, we are finding that which location is suitable for this kind of a structure where the Gloff power or the stream power will be the lowest. So some of the wider portions of the valley, which are very gentle, are very suitable. So we are jointly working to identify these locations jointly with Ministry of Water Resources. Next slide, please. So this is a visualization that we created of this structure, that during the main design principle of this structure is it should withstand the power of a Gloff, and in normal course it should allow the river to flow through. It's like a flow through structure. When a Gloff comes, it retains the Gloff and then it releases the water, a safe discharge, slowly to attenuate the peak hydrograph. Yeah, next slide, please. So this is the visualization. So before the Gloff, the river flows through the retention structure and doesn't cause too much harm to the ecosystem and the ecology. And the siting of this structure is very important. There should be a lot of space for debris and water to actually be there when the Gloff comes. So when the Gloff comes, the structure starts behaving like a retention structure, and it kind of withstands the impact of the Gloff. It actually holds the water and does a safe release to attenuate the peak hydrograph. So that is the visualization that we have done, and the location also, an ideal location has also been identified. So various feasibility studies are now being contemplated. So this is another approach wherein in one shot we can tackle several lakes. So what are the outputs that we have achieved? Based on preliminary hazard assessment, 15 lakes have a total of 16 lakes have been identified where field-based assessments are being carried out, and then a few Gloff mitigation proposals are also being developed. So these are the first proposals being developed in the country for Gloff risk mitigation. Next slide, please. And these have been developed jointly with the local community, because while we perceive the glacier lakes and climate change as a hazard, the local people perceive these lakes as a place where their deities reside. So for them, all these lakes are sacred. So jointly taking them along in a scientific program is very critical. So what are the outcomes over the last few years? So we go to the next slide. So the main outcome, if you ask me, the main outcome that I see, next slide please, is that we have been able to develop a system which was not there to tackle this new hazard in the Himalayas. So in the case of Sikkim, administrative systems have been established by amending the business rule, setting up institutional mechanisms, and roles and responsibilities are now clearly defined. Secondly, which is more important, is the technical capabilities. So the geologists from Sikkim, the geographers from Sikkim, our ecologists, our glaciologists, our engineers, since they went to field on their own, no consultancy was given, they have now the expertise and experience to develop DPRs for Gloff risk mitigation. And in terms of financial support, a new centrally sponsored scheme has been started by Government of India called National Globe Risk Mitigation Program, which is administered by NDMA. So funds will be accessed through this particular scheme. So we feel that since most of these glacial lakes are in the border areas, and these lakes really impact the connectivity to these areas, so it can be not only one of the biggest contribution to national security, but also it will help in safeguarding the state in the case of future GLOF events. And I'm happy to say that the state of Sikkim, because we bore the brunt of the GLOF, we are now emerging as a national leader in this particular field. So thank you so much. And I have a small video which we can play, which is just a few minutes. So thank you so much. This is how the glaciers are melting and the lakes are forming below the glaciers. And these are the huge lakes. They have a capacity of 50 to 60 million cubic meters of water. And when a glacial flood comes, most of the roads, bridges, dams, habitations, they get impacted by this wall of water, which is 15 to 20 meters high. So in the case of Sikkim, our most important hydel projects got totally damaged in this particular glacial flood event. Many of the habitations got submerged under the silt and the debris that got deposited. The national highway that connects Sikkim has been badly damaged. And one of the irreversible impacts is that the river bed level has risen by 10 meters. So now during monsoons, the water now floods and it actually covers the national highway. This is a big challenge and an irreversible impact that has come up. So unlike a normal flood, this GLOF event causes many irreversible impacts, like hydel projects get totally damaged and the river bed will rise in the lower reaches by 8 to 10 meters. So these are the expeditions that we conducted at 17,000 feet. So a whole team of central and state government departments went to the high altitude jointly with the Indian Army and the local people. These expeditions were conducted, and then the hazard assessment of these prioritized lakes was carried out. So this is the bathymetry study that the team did and the 4-step approach that was followed for GLOF risk mitigation. So
वॉल्यूम ऑन कर दो.
So based on these field studies, we could assess what are the areas where the lakes are very susceptible, and the terminal moraines, their structural integrity, the hydrology of the particular streams, and also the topographical and hydrodynamic modeling of the various the upper reaches of the rivers. And then we also understood or tried to review how other countries are trying to tackle GLOF hazard. So some approaches to reduce the water level are siphoning, pumping, enhancing the channel, cutting the moraine dam, and also tunneling. So these are some of the mitigation steps taken by other countries. So based on our field studies and based on how other countries have responded, we have developed a few mitigation proposals to reduce the hazard from some of the high-risk lakes in the state of Sikkim. And like I said, there are more than 2,000 high-risk lakes across the Himalayas. So this challenge is something which the country will be facing in the other states as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Tambe. It was a wonderful presentation. A lot to learn from Sikkim. In fact, many of the Himalayan states can consider replicating some of the initiatives which Sikkim has taken, and we can take this as a part of a deliverable coming out from this workshop. The next part is now from scientific research. We are now moving to people's participation and community-based approach, which is another very important aspect of rejuvenation, because communities do play a very important role as far as river protection and rejuvenation is concerned. And a very important initiative in this regard has been taken by Himalayan Environmental Studies and Conservation Organization, HESCO. So I invite Dr. Anil Joshi to make a presentation on the initiatives which have been taken by HESCO in Uttarakhand.
आप सब लोगों को मेरा प्रणाम है। मैं असल में हिंदी में इसलिए भी बोलना चाहूँगा कि जो मेरे कुछ और साथी भी हैं, बहुत से लोग इसमें जुड़े हैं, उनको वो हिंदी से सहज होंगे। और उसके अलावा ये भी है कि वाटर में उतना अपनापन नहीं है जितना पानी शब्द में है। तो अगर मेरे को अनुमति है तो मैं हिंदी में अपनी बात कहूँगा ताकि दूसरे लोग भी उसमें भागीदारी बने। एक जो मेरे लिए बहुत और हमने सीखा भी है इस रूप में कि शायद आज एक बड़ा समय आ गया है कि जिसको हम इस रूप में समझें कि हमारे 3 बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं। नेक्स्ट प्लीज दिखाइए। 3 बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं जिसको कि हम आज स्वीकारेंगे, और बड़ी अच्छी बात है कि सरकार ने, एनएमसीजी ने बहुत महत्वपूर्ण और गंभीरता से इनको लेने की कोशिश की है। सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि हमारी सबसे बड़ी चिंता नदियों को लेके है, लेकिन नदियों को ले प्रति एक और बड़ी समझ हमको बनानी ही चाहिए कि नदियां अकेले नहीं होती, नदियों का भी एक परिवार है। और नदियों का परिवार है छोटी छोटी नदियां या गाड़ गदेरे, ये सब गांव से चलते हैं, तो गांव भी नदियों का परिवार हो जाते हैं। और साथ में ये भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है कि कभी भी ये तो समझ बनानी ही होगी कि नदियां मनुष्य की ही नहीं है, जीव जंतुओं की भी हैं, मनुष्य की भी हैं, और उस जमीन की भी है जो तरती है, और वो खेती भी होती है, और जहां वन भी पनपते हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि शायद एक समय बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। आपने विज्ञान का एक पहलू अभी इससे पहले भी दिखाया, उसका बड़ा महत्व है अपनी जगह में, लेकिन एक और भी जरूरत पड़ चुकी है कि हम प्रकृति के तौर तरीके को भी समझने की कोशिश करें, क्योंकि ये तो स्वीकारना ही पड़ेगा, न नदियां हम लाए और न वन हम लाए, ये तो प्रकृति की कहीं देन है। इसलिए कहीं शायद आवश्यक ये भी हो जाएगा कि हम नदियों के एक और पहलू को सोच समझ के अगर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे तो हमारे लिए महत्व होगा। जल भी, जंगल भी, जमीन भी, जन भी, जीव, और हमारे पास अलग अलग विभाग भी हैं, लेकिन शायद ये एक ही है, बस सिर्फ जोड़े जाने की आवश्यकता है और उसको उस तरह की समझ बनाने की आवश्यकता है। क्योंकि आज अगर नदियों के मरते हालात हैं तो उसके लिए कहीं महत्वपूर्ण ये भी है कि हम वनों को मान लेते थे कि जलागम में मजबूत वन होंगे तो पानी सींचेंगे, और गांव जो सीधे उनसे जुड़े हुए हैं, छोटी छोटी नदियां जो बड़ी नदियों को बनाते हैं, उनके अपने हालात क्या हैं, ये सब मिला के छोटी छोटी नदियां ही बड़ी नदियों को बनाती हैं। ये समझ हमारे बीच में आ जाए। और जैसे कि अर्चना जी ने भी कहा कि पूरी संस्कृति, संस्कार, गीत, पूजा, छठ, ये सब कहीं हमारी नदियों से जुड़े हैं और छोटे छोटे गाड़ गदेरों से भी जुड़े हैं। एक महत्वपूर्ण बात राजीव जी ने जो कही, जो सबसे महत्वपूर्ण मुझे लगती है, वो इस रूप में भी कही है कि अब एक समय आ गया है कि लोगों की भागीदारी सुनिश्चित की जाए। और मेरा अभी ठोस मानना ये है कि ये तो आप स्वीकार लेंगे कि लोगों की भागीदारी का एक सीधा और सरल समीकरण है, छोटी नदियां ही बड़ी नदियों को बनाती हैं। गाड़ गदेरे पहाड़ में हम उनको कहते हैं, और ट्रिब्यूटरीज या जो छोटी छोटी धारे हम अन्य जगहों में प्रयोग करते हैं, सीधा सा कनेक्ट है, जुड़ाव है। गांव को नदियां नहीं पता, गांव को अपने गाड़ गदेरे, छोटे छोटे धारे और नदियां पता है, क्योंकि उनकी लाइफ लाइन है, उनकी खेती है, उनके जंगल है इनसे जुड़े हुए। इसलिए स्वाभाविक है उनका जुड़ाव स्वतः ही इन छोटी छोटी नदियों से होगा, जहां बसावट रही, जहां लोग बसे, जहां उनकी खेती बाड़ी भी इन छोटी नदियों से ही, और वही छोटी नदियां अंततः एक बड़ी नदी को भी स्वरूप दे देते हैं। और शायद यही एक बड़ी समझ है जिसको कि अगर हम लें तो अपने आप में लोगों की भागीदारी का एक बहुत स्वयं ही एक बड़ा उदाहरण भी सामने आएगा। दूसरी बड़ी बात यह है कि यह भी स्वीकारना पड़ेगा कि पहले दुनिया में पानी आया और वन बाद में आए। तो अगर हमारे छोटे छोटे जो कैचमेंट जिनको हम जलागम कहते हैं, ये जल का आगमन और आवाहन भी करते हैं, क्योंकि अगर हमारे देश में वनों की, प्राकृतिक वनों की घटती आबादी है, तो उसका सीधा और बड़ा कारण है कि हमने अपने जलागों में पानी खो दिया, क्योंकि वो पानी पहले था अब नहीं है, तो वन भी नहीं होंगे। तो स्वतः है कि अगर पानी है तो जंगल भी पनपेंगे, और ये उदाहरण प्रस्तुत हो चुके हैं। ये उदाहरण कहीं हमें एक दिशा की तरफ ले जाने की कोशिश करते हैं कि हम इसको सामूहिक रूप से अगर सोचने की बातचीत करेंगे तो शायद बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होगा। मैं इस पूरी कड़ी में महिलाओं की सबसे बड़ी भूमिका समझता हूं। ये तो आप स्वीकारेंगे, नदियों को मां कहते हैं, और घर की सारी अपेक्षाएं, घर के सारे काम, बाहर के काम, गांव के काम, इसमें केंद्रीय भूमिका महिलाओं की है। अगर हमने महिलाओं से केंद्रित बातचीत की अगर शुरुआत की, तो आप ये मान लीजिए, चाहे वो खरपतवार है, खरपतवारों से उपयोग में आने वाली चीजें हो, नदी की वापसी की बात हो, क्योंकि उनका सीधा अपनी पकड़ है उससे, और अगर उनकी सीधी उससे अपनी पकड़ है तो वो इसमें जुटती भी है, आती भी है और जुड़ती भी है। और इसके लिए एनएमसीजी का एक प्रयोग जो उन्होंने घर गांव के लिए एक नए रास्ते के साथ शुरुआत की है, वो अपने बड़े असर उसने दिखाने शुरू किए हैं। अभी एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण बात यह है कि महिलाएं भी जानती हैं कि पानी का महत्व क्या है, छोटे गाड़ गदेरों का महत्व क्या है, कि उनकी खेती उससे होती है, उनके वन पनपते हैं, उनके जंगल पनपते हैं। कुछ उदाहरण है कि जहां प्रकृति के विज्ञान को, हमने तमाम तरह के विज्ञानों का अध्ययन किया है, लेकिन शायद अब प्रकृति के विज्ञान की समझ है। ये नदी है, जब सूख गई तो लोगों ने ही आपस में बैठ के इसकी सूखने पर सवाल स्वयं से किए और प्रकृति की समझ को बनाने की कोशिश की, और सीधा और सरल रास्ता जो कि सबको स्वीकार्य था, गांव समाज को, क्योंकि बड़े बड़े विज्ञान गांव से खरे नहीं उतर पाते, लेकिन एक समझ कि रोक दो पानी को और जल विदों को, जिससे नदियां बनती है उनको सींचो, तो उसके सरल तरीके जल छिद्र बना दीजिए। कौन से गांव की समझ में नहीं आएगा? कौन सा जलागम है जो पानी को नहीं चाहता और वनों की अपेक्षा नहीं करता? ये स्वतः प्रक्रिया है जो तब प्रकृति की समझ ले आती है। ये स्वाभाविकता है, और इस स्वाभाविकता को ही समझना आज हमारी सबसे बड़ी चुनौती है। मैं अभी अगली अगर आप स्लाइड देखेंगे तो उसमें गांव ने अपने स्तर पर जल छिद्रों को बनाया, और ये जल छिद्र जितने बने, उन जल छिद्रों में जैसे जैसे पानी पड़ता गया, वैसे वैसे वो पानी जल भिदों को, एक्वीफर को उन्होंने लगातार रिचार्ज किया, और एक्वीफर ही है जो अपने हिस्से का स्वतः पानी से रेन फेड वर्षा जनित नदियों को सींचते हैं। ये थे, और इन्होंने वर्षा जनित नदी को, और आपको मैं और बताऊं कि देश की जो दूसरी बड़ी समस्या है, वनों की आग, जो बचे हुए वनों को भी लील रही है, इस प्रयोग ने वनों की आग को भी पछाड़ दिया, और अब इन जगहों में आग नहीं लगती क्योंकि मॉइस्चर रहता है पूरा का पूरा। और ये प्रयोग दुनिया ने भी देखने की कोशिश की है कि जिस पानी को आग लगने के बाद लाते हो, उसको पहले ही ले आओ, और अगर वो पहले आएगा जल की आग भी। और वनों को देखिए, फॉरेस्ट नेचुरली ये थी जगह, और ये क्या हुई, और आज नेचुरल फॉरेस्ट आ गया। और ये वो वन है जो ह्यूमन इंड्यूस नहीं है, ये प्रकृति की इच्छा के अनुसार जो उसकी मिट्टी से जुड़ते हैं, ये वो वन है। इनकी वापसी तो जल, जंगल, जमीन सबकी सीधा पकड़ बनी। एक नदी की वापसी हुई, और कई नदियों की वापसी हो चुकी। ये नदी होगी, इसके अलावा दूसरी नदियों की वापसी भी स्वतः ही होने लगी। और ये एक बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण बात थी कि आर्थिकी का सबसे बड़ा हिस्सा है घर गांव की, देश के घर गांव की अगर सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी है वो फार्मिंग है, एग्रीकल्चर है। और अगर वहां का गाड़ गदेरा, वहां की स्ट्रीम अगर पानी लाती है तो खेती सरसब्ज होती है, और खेती के साथ बेहतर पानी के साथ और प्रयोग भी सद जाते हैं। नेक्स्ट प्लीज। और जैसे कि अब ये छोटी नदी ने कम से कम 12 घराटों को, वाटर मिल को सींच दिया, जो मर चुके थे उनमें जीवन वापस आया। और ये गांव की इकोनॉमी है, उनकी मशीन है जो आटा की पिसाई करती है। तो ये गांव का सिस्टम था। तो अगर बड़ी नदियों को के प्रति चिंता है तो घर गांव के, और साथ में जब जंगल वापस आया तो जड़ी बूटियां भी आई। और आप देखिए, ये महिलाओं का एक छोटा सा कलेक्शन का काम भी हो गया। यहां से 20 लाख की जड़ी बूटी हर साल महिलाएं लेती हैं। तो ये अपने आप में कंप्लीट प्रयोग है। और फिर मेरा मानना है, क्या नदियां मनुष्य की हैं, क्या औरों की नहीं है? तो हिरन हो, मैंगूज हो, रैबिट्स हो, ये सब के सब, लेपर्ड हो, एक साथ वापस आ गए। और कारण साफ था कि पानी और नदी को अकेला नहीं छोड़ा, इसको मिलाकर के सोचने की कोशिश की, लोगों के साथ, वन्य जीवों के साथ और जंगल के साथ, सबके साथ सोचने की कोशिश ही आज इसकी वापसी तय कर पाई है। मैं अनुरोध करूंगा, मेरे साथ कुछ 2 महिलाएं भी हैं, एक छोटा 2 मिनट का वीडियो है जो पूरा कहानी एक ही बार में कह देगा। मेरी प्रार्थना है कि अगर आप उसे दिखाएंगे तो शायद एक ही बारी में सब समझ में आ जाएगा, हमारे जो कोशिश है। आवाज के लिए ठीक है, ठीक है।
हेलो। हेलो। क्या मेरी आवाज आ रही है? हेलो। हेलो। क्या मेरी आवाज आ रही है? हेलो।
आ रही है, आवाज आ रही है।
हाँ। आ, आप सभी लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार। और
ये वीडियो खत्म होने के बाद अब अगले उनसे अनुरोध है, डॉक्टर नहीं, मिस कामिनी कुमारी, कामिनी कुमारी या कुसुम घिल्डियाल, कौन पहले बोलेगा?
कामनी बोल दो, कामनी।
अच्छा, कुसुम, कुसुम जी आप
हाँ,
बोलिए। हाँ,
नमस्कार आप सभी लोगों को। और अभी तक जो सुबह से प्रस्तुतिकरण चल रहे थे बहुत अच्छे प्रस्तुतिकरण थे, किस तरह से अलग अलग राज्यों ने अपने काम किए हैं और किस तरह से भी काम आगे चल रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड के परिप्रेक्ष्य में अभी जैसे एक प्रस्तुतिकरण हेस्को की तरफ से किया गया है, उसमें हम जो कहते हैं कि हमारा जो मेन जो काम है वो समुदाय के साथ उनकी सहभागिता हम किस तरह से बढ़ा पाए नदी बचाने के संदर्भ में, और खास करके उन गांव में कि जहाँ पर छोटी छोटी जो सहायक नदियां हैं जिनको कि हम यहाँ की जो भाषा में हम लोग गाड़ गदेरे कहते हैं, उनको किस तरह से हम बचा सकें। क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं वो जो गाड़ गदेरे गांव के पास से निकलते हैं वो वहाँ की जो आर्थिकी है, वहाँ की आजीविका से सीधे सीधे तौर पे संबंध रखते हैं। और जब खासकर हम महिलाओं और बच्चों की बात करते हैं, बच्चों में भी खास करके जो किशोरी लड़कियां हैं उनकी जब हम बात करते हैं, तो उसमें क्या है कि हम जैसे इसमें खो रिवर की हम बात कर रहे थे कि खो रिवर को लेकर के हम जो काम अभी कर रहे हैं कि जिसमें कि महिलाओं के साथ हम लोगों ने बातचीत की है, और खास करके उसमें जो है कि पंचायतों और महिलाओं की भागीदारी के तहत कोशिश की गई है कि जल छिद्रों का निर्माण हो, कहीं पर यदि आवश्यकता पड़ती है तो कुछ चेक डैम्स बनाने की। और उससे भी सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी जो हम लोगों का मेन जो फोकस है कि ठीक है हम जो एक स्ट्रक्चर है वो तो हम बना रहे हैं, बने हैं, लेकिन जो मेन है कि किस तरह से हम समुदाय की सहभागिता उसमें सुनिश्चित करें। क्योंकि ये बात हम सब लोग जानते हैं, इसमें विभाग भी सहमत होगा, बाकी सब लोग सहमत होंगे कि यदि समुदाय अपने आप से जागरूक होता है, समुदाय अपनी आवश्यकताओं को समझता है, उसमें अपनी भागीदारी निभाता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि किसी भी सरकार, किसी भी संस्था का काम बहुत आसान हो जाता है समुदाय की सहभागिता के कारण। तो हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं उसमें मेन की पंचायतों को लेकर के, जिसमें कि ये बहुत अच्छा एक प्रयास उत्तराखंड सरकार की तरफ से भी रहा है कि जो उन्होंने सतत विकास लक्ष्य एसडीजी का जो लोकलाइजेशन किया है नॉर्थ थीम में, उस नॉर्थ थीम में भी उन्होंने एक महिला हितैषी और एक बाल हितैषी अलग से थीम किया है कि जिसमें उनके लोकलाइजेशन को लेकर के खास करके गांव में जो जीपीडीपी बन रही हैं, जो विलेज डेवलपमेंट प्लान जो बन रहे हैं ग्राम पंचायत लेवल के, उनमें इस चीज को भी डाला है कि किस तरह से हम पानी को और हमारे जो आसपास गाड़ गदेरे हैं उनको किस तरह से हम संरक्षित कर सकते हैं, हम किस किस तरह के काम हम लोग कर सकते हैं। तो इसमें हम महिलाओं को साथ लेके चल रहे हैं, महिलाओं के साथ साथ हम लोगों ने इसमें शामिल किया है बच्चों को भी, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं है कि बच्चे भी, हम जो कहते हैं कि हमारे चेंज मेकर्स है, चेंज एजेंट है वो फ्यूचर के हमारे, तो उनको भी हमने अभी से ही संवेदनशील करना शुरू किया है कि क्यों हम इतना जरूरी होते हैं। और वही है कि इससे पहले भी मैंने कहा था और अभी भी एकदम से शुरू हुआ है, तो मैं थोड़ा सा अपना नाम बताना चाहूंगी कि मेरा नाम कुसुम घिल्डियाल है और मैं उत्तराखंड से हूँ। और हम लोग अभी जो काम कर रहे हैं वो खो नदी को लेकर के, रवासन नदी को लेकर के, जो कि गंगा की और रामगंगा की जो सहायक नदियों के तौर पे मानी जाती हैं, उनके लिए उनके किस तरह से पुनर्जीवन हो, स्थानीय जो गाड़ गदेर हैं उनको लेकर के हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। और मुख्य रूप से पंचायत और जो समुदाय है उनकी भागीदारी को लेकर के हमारा जो मुख्य उद्देश्य है कि उनकी सहभागिता के आधार पर किस तरह से हम लोग इस काम को आगे बढ़ाएं। क्योंकि होता यह है कि सब कुछ तैयारी हो जाती, सारे काम हो जाते हैं, लेकिन बाद में फॉलो अप को लेकर दिक्कत आती है। तो हम वो एक ओनरशिप डेवलप करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं समुदाय के साथ कि जो भी चीजें हैं वो आपकी अपनी है, किसी भी तरह की, चाहे वो जल संरक्षण की स्कीम है या जो भी योजनाएं बना रहे हैं, उसमें उनके ओनरशिप को हम किस तरह से एस्टैब्लिश करें। जहां ओनरशिप एस्टैब्लिश होती है वहां क्या होता है कि सरकार और संस्था के लिए वो चीजें आसान हो जाती हैं। और मुझे लगता है सिर्फ शायद यहाँ पर सबको बहुत टाइम दिया गया, हमारा भी सिर्फ 2 मिनट का समय था। तो आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और उम्मीद करते हैं कि जो हम इस तरह का काम कर रहे हैं उसमें हम एक दूसरे साथी लोगों से जो उनकी लर्निंग्स रही हैं, सीख रही हैं, उनको आगे लेते हुए हम लोग आगे काम मिलजुल करके सरकार, संस्था और समुदाय के साथ मिल करके एक कोऑर्डिनेटेड वे में हम लोग काम कर पाएंगे। धन्यवाद।
हाँ कामिनी जी, हाँ आप अपने विचार व्यक्त कीजिए।
जी सभी को मेरा प्रणाम। मैं बिहार से हूँ और मैं ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में हेस्को देहरादून और पानी रे पानी अभियान के तहत ग्रामीण महिलाओं को एकत्रित करके हमने पानी के साथ साथ किसान और महिलाओं को आगे करके रोजगार के साथ हमने जोड़ा है। तो गंगा के सहायक नदी जो है बलान और बैती, इस पे हमने ज्यादातर काम किया है कि बलान और बैती को कुंभी आकर के उसके जल जो नीचे का सोर्स होता है उसको बंद कर दिया था और वहाँ जो है सो वो पूरा पानी खत्म हो जाता था, तो वहाँ के जानवर को भी पीने के लिए दिक्कत होता था और वहाँ के आसपास के किसानों को खेती करने में पटवन की जो जरूरत होती थी उसमें परेशानी होती थी। तो हम लोगों ने गांव की महिलाओं को आगे लाया और उसमें हमने 45 गांव की महिलाओं को कुल 11,000 की संख्या में वन डे महिलाओं को नीचे उतार करके कुंभी की सफाई हमने की और उस कुंभी से हमने बर्मिंग कंपोस्ट बनाने का काम किया और बर्मिंग कंपोस्ट के बाद हमने नेचुरल फार्मिंग के लिए किसानों को जागरूक किया। साथ ही हमने जो नगदी फसल है और फलदार फसल है उस पे हमने अपना पूरा ध्यान केंद्रित किया। तो इससे किसानों को जुड़ाव पानी की तरफ हुआ और फिर किसान भी पानी को बचाने के लिए प्रयास करते रहे। पूर्व में भी सभी लोग साल में एक बार पानी को बचाने के लिए प्रयास करते ही थे, लेकिन अब जो है इनका बहुत ज्यादा लगाव पानी को बचाने के लिए हुआ। तो फिर हम लोगों ने जो जल स्तर नीचे चला जा रहा था तो वाटर रिचार्ज पिट जिस तरह से देहरादून में बनाया गया था पहाड़ों पे, तो वहां से सीख करके हमने अपने बाया नदी बलान नदी के किनारे 5,000 वाटर रिचार्ज पिट बनाया, जिस वजह से आज हमारे बलान नदी में भी पानी है, बैती में भी पानी है और बाया में भी पर्याप्त मात्रा में पानी दिखने को मिल रहा है। तो पानी आने के बाद हमारे यहाँ के किसान जो मछुआरे हैं वो मत्स्य पालन शुरू कर दिए हैं, जिनसे उनकी घर की आर्थिक स्थिति अच्छी हुई है और उस पानी से हमारे किसान सब्जी की खेती कर रहे हैं। और खास करके पानी को बचाने में नेचुरल फार्मिंग और जो उसके पटवन में ड्रिप का जो हमने प्रयोग किया है ये काफी गांव के लोगों के लिए सराहनीय रहा है। और खास करके महिलाओं के द्वारा जो कुंभी का जो बर्मिंग कंपोस्ट तैयार किया गया है और वो किसानों को जो दिया गया तो किसानों की लागत पूंजी कम हुई और उसकी आमदनी बढ़ी। इसके लिए जो है नमामि गंगे और हेस्को को हमारे यहाँ के किसानों ने बहुत थैंक्स कहा है और बहुत संख्या में यहाँ किसान जो है जुड़ना चाह रहे हैं और जुड़ करके पानी को बचाने के लिए सतत प्रयास करेंगे। और हम लोग जो है महिलाएं खास करके श्रमदान और हेस्को के साथ जुड़ करके ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम करना चाहते हैं, ताकि पानी नहीं रहेगा तो हम लोग नहीं रहेंगे। और वाकई में सर का कहना है कि पानी को बचाने में महिलाओं की ज्यादा भूमिका रहती है और पानी के महत्व को महिलाएं जानती हैं, बिल्कुल हम लोग जानते हैं। और बलान बैती और जो छोटे छोटे नदी हैं तालाब हैं उसको बचाने का हम लोग भरपूर कोशिश करते हैं। 16 तालाब भी हम महिलाओं ने मिल करके बनाया है, उसके चारों किनारे पेड़ लगाया है और मिश्रित खेती भी तालाब पे भी हम लोग करने का काम किए हैं। और समय मेरा खत्म होता है, सभी लोगों को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नाम कामिनी है, घर बेगूसराय बिहार है।
धन्यवाद कामिनी जी। अब again we are now shifting from public outreach to scientific presentations and we move to state of Rajasthan where Shri Kamarul Zaman Chaudhary, IAS District Collector Bharatpur Rajasthan, and along with him Jyoti Verma would present rejuvenation of wetlands and ecotourism hubs and development of green river funds. So since we are running a little short of time, both speakers are requested to kind of complete the presentation in 10 minutes each.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. Good morning to all dignitaries. I am Kamar Chaudhary, District Collector Bharatpur, and with me is Manas Singh, DCF Bharatpur, DCF Keladev National Park. Next slide, please. What I'll be discussing is rejuvenation of Keladev National Park and what problems we had, what challenges we had. In the next slide, please. Probably this is one of the only site in India which has all the 3 tags: UNESCO World Heritage Site, National Park, and a Ramsar Site. It's a very strategically located wetland on Central Asian Flyway. It's home to around 375 bird species, 200 native and 150 plus migratory species. Around 34 mammal species we have. This park has an ecological, cultural and tourism importance, being part of NCR, and it's around 2,900 hectare area, a huge green area just near to the city. Wetlands, what is the importance of wetlands, why we need wetlands? I'll be dealing with 2 major questions in my whole presentation. What wetlands do for us? What can we do for wetlands? So first part, what wetlands do for us? As we all know, they filter and purify, they trap sediments absorb excess nutrients, remove pollutants. If we talk about cities like Srinagar, they have wetlands near the river. Kolkata wetland, it's again again near the river, and this first thing is being done by such type of wetlands. Next is regulating the flow. It stores floodwaters, recharge groundwaters, and it maintains river-based flow, what we call underwater recharge or underwater flow. Next is balance of ecology. It provides an habitat for fish. I'll be dealing with an example from Keladev itself. Birds and aquatic life, and it sustains biodiversity. So it's a ecosystem in itself. Then one another thing, nutrient cycling. It acts as a natural bioreactor. If we talk about any national park, all the flora and fauna which comes inside the park, it gets naturally degraded and it works as an organic matter. As an example, I'll like to quote, if we need to deepen any of the area, we scrap the upper soil, which is full of all these micronutrients and all the organic nutrients. And when we use it for any seed growing, it works wonders. Then these wetlands, they work as climate buffer. They capture carbon, regulate microclimate, and reduce extreme impacts. And as many studies have recently shown that these national parks and wetlands, the level of carbon storage they have is equal to equatorial forests. So this is the significance they have. Next slide, please. So key challenges which were faced in the past, if I talk about Keladev National Park. And broadly, if I talk about Rajasthan, Western Rajasthan, water scarcity is there. So maintaining and managing wetland is a major issue. If we don't have a regular flow of water, it will be dry, and then another major problem will be of encroachment. So first, we need to demarcate it. We need to specify the area, and then we need to conserve. Second challenge comes in invasive species. We have a major problem of Prosopis juliflora in Rajasthan, jisko Vilaiti babool also they call in vernacular term. And this bush, it spreads very fast. जो भी local flora and fauna है, उसको पूरी तरीके से it eradicates. Then wherever we have water, this water hyacinth problem is another challenge which we faced. Habitat degradation. When we have Prosopis juliflora, our grasslands are lost. Wetland, it gets eradicated or it goes away slowly. And then because this national park is just near the city, we had a problem of feral cattle and weeds. It has a good tourist footfall. We had a challenge of tourist facilities also. So these were our challenges or problem statement. So now how we dealt with it, I'll be coming in the next slide. Next slide, please. So habitat rejuvenation efforts which we made. First was removal of Prosopis juliflora, catfish, and other invasive weeds. What we did was very simple. We didn't do anything extra, but what we executed was humongous. The level of execution was very vast and huge. So if I talk in economic terms, this Prosopis juliflora, we whatever removal we did with the help of EDCs, eco committees, which we had eco development committees. So these are community committees. So we tried to have a win-win situation for both the community and the park. These were bushes, so we let them take the firewood which they required, and we wanted to have grasslands restored. So community came in, and we were estimating the number of man days or manpower we used in this, it was around 15 to 20 crore rupees. We did this experiment in around 1,000 hectare area, and this was a very successful experiment without using a single penny from the government side. And wherever we need to recover or restore our wetlands or our national park, this is the way forward, because government will not be able to take care of all this in a single go. Maybe it will be doing it in over the years, but this is something which was very successful. Second was scrapping and deepening the wetlands, because we had lots of silt, and over the time the capacity of the wetland got reduced. So scrapping was done with the help of the community also, and with the help of paid manpower also. And that's whatever we scrapped, we used in the park, and we used it for growing on nursery or seeds, and we had good results. Next challenge was grassland restoration, because many birds, migratory birds, they are dependent on the grasses, and many of them they need for their nesting and all. So we did grass plantation, we did seed ball plantation. So I'll show you in the video, coming video, a slide. Just the previous slide, please. I'll show you in the next video. So how we restored the grassland after removing Juliflora. Then was reintroduction of the native species. So blackbuck, the last recorded blackbuck in the park was around 2006. Sorry, 2002. So after 2002, we had floods, and then after floods, somehow blackbuck population totally it finished in the park, and it was reintroduced in year 2023 and 24. Next, please. So these are the photos showing how community participated in removal of invasive species. Next. This is the restoration of grassland. This slide has a video, if at all you can please play. So this is the restoration of grassland after we eradicated Procifera's Juliflora. Next. This is blackbuck reintroduction. Blackbucks were reintroduced. And good sign for us is they have started breeding also. So we are very hopeful for this blackbuck reintroduction and success of this experiment. So next is securing water availability. Any wetland, the most important thing is it should have a secure water source. So as far as Keladev is concerned, its main source is Gambiri River, which comes from Pachnavan. But in last 10-15 years, we didn't get ample water, barring previous 2 years, this year and the last year. So when we didn't have water, our national park was the number of bird species which used to come every year, they reduced significantly. The number of mammal species reduced significantly. Then government took a major step. So from Govardhan drain, we had a pipeline of around 22 kilometers, which supplied water to the park. From Chambal project, around 100 kilometers from Chambal, we got water for Keladev Ghana. And then is the Ajan Bandh, which is the downstream bandh of Gambiri River, from which we get water whenever there is ample rain. So when we didn't get water from Ajan Bandh, we get water from Govardhan drain and Chambal project. And the level of water we get, the park has a capacity of around 600 MCFT. So the water we get from Govardhan drain and Chambal project is around 50 MCFT to 100 MCFT. So accordingly, we will get the bird species, we will get the fish species and mammals there. And when we get water from Ajan Bandh or Namami River. Lots of fish species coming. The park, it gets a new life for another 6, 7, 10 years. So this year we had good water. The park is full, and due to these efforts, we are able to maintain a balance in the park. This I explained, Chambal water which we are getting through canal and pipeline both. We are regularly monitoring the inflow and wetland hydrology, because we need to maintain a level of water. We cannot go more than that. This year we had ample water, but we cannot reach a certain level in the park, because this is very important for growth of grass, very important for growth of many fish species. So, and that is purely, that will define the number of bird species, migratory bird species coming. As I explained, yet 2024 and 25 received ample water from Pachana Dam, and the wetland is properly rejuvenated, and these are the few photographs which show the level of water. This is the Govardhan rainwater and Chambal water. And this is a video.
Sorry to interrupt, but we are running short of time, so we'll have to quickly wrap it up. Another couple of minutes.
Sir, I'll wrap it up in 2 minutes. So, that was a previous one, was a video which showed how we how we pumped in water to actually maintain the national park. So ecotourism infrastructure which we developed eco-friendly trails for bird watchers, benches and resting areas, signages. Whole community was used in green mobility. I'll explain it in the next slide. In green mobility, all the cycle rickshaws were replaced by e-rickshaws and e-carts, and community is running this, and we have nature guides. So we have made this park as plastic-free park initiative, and this is being done with the help of the community. Then we improved the washrooms and tourist facilities, and with all these features, the park had got good footfall. So for community involvement, as I explained earlier also, we had eco-development committees which helped us in removing juliflora, removing catfishes, and
Kumar, I think we should running very short of time. I mean, we are almost 15 minutes late now. So please, I think we would like to move to next presentation now.
So we can stop it here.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Jyoti, can you please start your presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jyoti Verma from
Good
National
afternoon,
Institute of Urban
everyone.
Affairs. Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here. So, while we are talking about, river management at the state level, at the basin level, it is very important to talk about urban river management and how cities are treating their river edges. So a lot of cities, are working towards developing the riverfront. And if we look at the basic function of a sustainable and green riverfront or waterfront, is these are the function: ecological restoration, flood prevention, historic restoration. So historic restoration is very important for the Indian context, because we have very strong connect with the river edges and river. So an economic development, recreation, and people river connect. But next slide, next please. Before that, sorry, you moved too fast. Previous slide, please. Yeah. So when we look at the conventional river fronts that are coming up in our cities, are basically missing these very important aspects, that is ecological restoration, flood prevention, and historic identity of the river. So next slide. So what happens, when the river's ecology is ignored, as TJ sir also mentioned, because it is very important to understand the river's characteristics. If it is a meandering river, if it is a braiding, or it is a straight river. So when that ecology is ignored, there are a lot of increased incidences of heat and climate stresses because of heavy concretization along the river edges. There is an increased risk of flood risk, biodiversity loss because of habitation destruction. So these are the causes that a riverfront project, an unsustainable riverfront project, can cause. Next slide, please. So while going through a lot of research that has been done on green riverfronts or eco-friendly riverfronts, under Namami Gange project, NIUA and NMCG came up with a primer sort of a thing, which actually helps city in understanding the basic, guidelines that they have to follow. What are those basic elements that a riverfront should have to make it sustainable and green? So these are those 5 themes. So one is protection of rivers' natural features. So there are a lot of associated elements of the river, like marshland, wetlands. So while developing a riverfront, it is crucial, it is imperative that those connections are not lost. There is a lateral connection of river and groundwater, and that is not lost while developing an riverfront. And then other major themes are climate proofing, how those riverfronts are adaptive to the change of climate, the urban heat, the flooding. So these riverfronts should be climate proofed. Third is the sustainable design and material. So when we talk about making a riverfront, it's not only the design, but also the practices that are being followed. For example, the solid waste, the wastewater management, then in design, the kind of local material that is being used, the native vegetation, and if the existing trees are not uprooted, because that will eventually hamper the biodiversity that are dependent on those existing trees and microclimates. And the very important aspect is integration of socioeconomic and cultural aspect. So in this area, a lot of cities are doing much better, but in the terms of protecting rivers' natural feature and sustainable design and climate proofing, we are lacking in terms of those designs. So if we are able to achieve these elements through our riverfront project, there's a great benefit that we also get. In the next slide, I'll show you. So in terms of benefit, if we see, we get improved water quality through wetlands, marshlands. There is a climate resilience, groundwater recharge, and biodiversity revival. So these are the major heads that a green riverfront or eco-friendly riverfront, provides. Next slide, please. So through a very simple example, I would like to show you what we meant by sustainable design and climate proofing. There was one slide before this. So, okay. It's okay. Next, yes. So, for example, this example from Guwahati and Kham River front, you can see the Guwahati has provided open spaces. They have retained the existing trees, the existing vegetation, and they have tried to incorporate the local materials. Similarly, while restoration of Kham River and providing the riverfront, the ground-fed natural springs, the water bodies were restored while developing the riverfront. So these are very important elements, come in picture when we are designing a riverfront. Next, please. Yeah, so through a very good example, a city that has tried to incorporate all these elements in their riverfront design. This is from Srinagar, the Sujlam riverfront. So what they have done is they have tried to integrate the city's landmark cultural nodes into the design, and also they have opted for the green embankments with stone overlay. So if you go to the next slide, a lot of the cities, they are choosing for the concrete embankments, because they know that is the only solution, or we just go for the concrete ghats. But for Srinagar, for the Sujlam River, they have broken down the strategies. For the stretch where they have very less flow, they have opted for the green embankment, and where that because of the slope, the flow is high, there they have integrated this green and gray option, and through vegetative riprap bank treatment, they have tried to make it as green as possible. And they have also protected the interconnected water channels that were there in the Jhelum basin. So they have tried to restore that as well. And as I earlier mentioned, it's also about the practices that are being adopted. So the weir that was there on the river, that has been modified to trap the solid waste floating in the river. So that is the one approach that they took to control the solid waste floating in the river. Next, please. Yeah, so they have, preserved, they have maintained the existing trees so that the habitat and the microclimate does not get hampered. And also they have used scraped metals, local materials to create these kind of structures to attract people and to connect and create that awareness that it is need to be preserved, that riverfront is not just a place for people, but it is for all the other ecosystem individuals or biodiversity that are dependent on riverfront. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, one of the very important aspect is bringing and connecting people to the riverfront. So they have initiated a number of activities through restaurant, cafes, houseboats, boating services. Through that, they have connected people, and also they are, making sure that the wastewater and the waste that is coming from these activities does not impact the quality of the river, and it is self-maintained. So it is very important while planning for activities, it is very imperative that the river health does not get hampered. So that is the thing. Next slide, you will see the primer that I was talking about that we have developed under mission. So it gives a very clear do's and don'ts on each of these themes. So I would like to end my presentation with this image, and I hope it is useful for cities and other stakeholders who are working on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jyoti, and thank you, Kamar. It was a wonderful presentation from the state of Rajasthan, where wetland and eco-friendly riverfronts were kind of deliberated. These also provide a way forward for a lot of cities to learn. The next presentation is from the state of Nagaland, and Mr. Krotso Koza will be talking about river basin management planning, another very important aspect related to river rejuvenation. The time for this presentation is 15 minutes, and we should try to stick to the time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Respected Chairman, program organizers, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Krotso Koza, presenting this PowerPoint. All this begin in Nagaland context. Nagaland state has a geographical area of 16,579 square kilometers. Two hills and floodplains constitute 6%. Hills and valleys constitute 94% of the geographical area. Next slide, please. Next, there are three river basins in Nagaland. Brahmaputra Basin, which has 65% of the land. Bharat Basin has 5% of the drainage area. Irrawaddy Basin has 30%. And water availability is 73%, 4%, and 23%. Next, please. The drainage area is shown in the map. The lower green southwest, that is Bharat Basin, that flows to Bharat River, and the southeast, that is Tisu Basin, that drains into Myanmar. The rest of the basins drains into Brahmaputra. Next, please. We are very grateful to the Brahmaputra board for bringing out master plans. Currently, there is still master plans upgradation work is going on, and the rest will be taken up in the process. We are also grateful to them for considering to take up master plan for Tisu Basin, which drains into Myanmar. Next, please. Next slide, please. The policy gaps and challenges. The Nagaland state has enacted Nagaland Water Policy 2016, and this emphasizes on comprehensive water resource management and planning. However, due to unique traditional land and water rights, the adoption of policy framework and legislation is a challenge. The policies. This is due to landholding rights and water rights. It is vested with the people and it is protected by the Article 371A. And so we are having a difficulty in making a policy framework. The potential solution for this is to have a dialogue with the people and the government, then come up with suitable consensus. There can also be another way, that is to buy off the water rights and buy the private lands by the community for the common people public benefit. We also face difficulty in establishing basin and sub-basin level institutions because there are different villages and tribes, sub-tribes having different tradition and customary laws. And we also have difficulty in controlling river and stream pollution. Though there may be policies and regulations, it is difficult to implement on the ground. And to have a solution on this one is to strengthen the regulations and or strictly enforcing it and to conduct public awareness campaigns. We also have a problem that there is no mechanism to control rampant stone quarrying and rivers and mining, which induces riverbank erosion and causing destruction of aquatic life. The solution for this, we anticipate is to have a regulation of extraction of river stone, boulders, rivers and mining, so that the river region is not destabilized. Next, please. The river and streams of the state are basically boulder stage, and these rivers flows rapidly by nature, causing substantial riverbank erosion and landslides. So we would like to have a program to deal with this riverbank erosion with engineering measures and afforestation. Engineering measures can be done by considering construction of RCC riverbank protection works with RCC posts and RCC beams connecting the posts, and then in between placing the boulders or say random rubble stone masonry so that it will prevent river erosions. This structure will be basically like a RCC building where we use random rubble masonry instead of brickwork in between the beams and the RCC post. We also have a problem of discharging sewage and other solid waste into the river. This pollution, we have some laws and regulations, but implementation of this on the ground is difficult. Then we also need to rejuvenate more springs and water bodies to restore the fast diminishing biodiversity. We are having some springshed management schemes, watershed development schemes, but these are not sufficient because of the fast vanishing of biodiversity. Next, please. Now, the best practices that we suggest are promotion of community reserve forests for water source sustainability. In Nagaland, we have community reserve forests in some villages. In these areas, it is very suitable and easy to implement government programs such as watershed development and springshed development works. So in other villages also, if we can promote community reserve forest, then the sustainability of the project can be ensured. Then another point we want to emphasize is construction of RCC structures for control of boulder-based riverbank erosions. And the last one is, if water resources management concepts are taught in the local school curriculum, it will have a great impact in the future. Next, please. This is one of the work that we have done in the past. This is the anti-erosion works done in Kidima. The bank remanagement were done with stone case in wire crates, but after some years, we have found that the wire crates were broken and the stone boulders were washed away. Next, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. After some years, it was found that people have started taking out the wire nets, and also they started taking out the wash-away boulders, and the project became a failure. Next, please. This is the RCC anti-erosion work, river protection works. This was done by private individuals, and we have seen that RCC work is much more stable, and it is giving a stable anti-erosion works, and we suggested in futures too, this type of works be considered. And at present, the guidelines for taking up anti-soil erosion works is the threshold limit is 50 crore, and this is too high for us. And we requested that if the amount can be lowered, then it will be very beneficial to the state of Nagaland. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now from Nagaland, we move to our most important partner in Namami Gange, the state of Uttar Pradesh. I'll invite Project Director from Uttar Pradesh, Shri Prabhas, to make his presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity to present the efforts that we are making by the state of UP in this area. In this presentation, I will be covering the issues, the efforts that we have made on the small river rejuvenation, the efforts that we have made on the catchment and the floodplain protection. Next slide, please. The figure on the left depicts the vast Indo-Gangetic basin and its sub-basins. The major tributaries that are shown are Yamuna, Ramganga, Gomti, Varuna, and the other important rivers. The vast Ganga river basin serves as a lifeblood for the millions, supporting agriculture, industry, and cultural heritage. But the health of the Ganga ecosystem is under significant strain due to the mounting pressures from the population growth, rapid urbanization, and the escalating impact of the climate change. Now, in order to secure a resilient future for the state of UP, the rejuvenation of small rivers is an important step, and along with that, the protection of the catchment area and the floodplains is also important. Next slide, please. I will be covering two aspects: the efforts, the challenges, and the way ahead that we have made in the state of UP in our efforts to rejuvenate the small rivers. And the next part, I will be covering the other half. In this slide, we have shown our efforts primarily made by the Gram Vikas Vibhag under the NREGA scheme. All these activities are underpinned in the NREGA scheme. We have worked on small river rejuvenations in all the 75 districts of UP. We have partnered with the technical institutions like the IIT Kanpur, like IIT BHU, and other national institutes. Under MNREGA, we have rejuvenated, in the last 3-4 years, we have rejuvenated 64 rivers. We have completed the works of around 4,000 kilometer on the river stretch. Total expenditure has been around 4,000 crore. We have generated man days, given employment. We have constructed ponds and planted trees and saplings. Now I will discuss some of the success stories that we have achieved under this initiative. Next slide, please. So the first initiative, the first success story that I want to highlight here is of the river Gomti, which is in the district Pilibhit. So a 47 kilometer segment was rejuvenated across 16 gram panchayats. This was all done by the local district administration under the NREGA scheme. Under this innovative Padyatra inspections were taken. People were engaged. More than 1,500 people were engaged. Outcomes included 23 rejuvenated ponds and construction of ghats were taken up. The second example that I want to highlight here is of the rejuvenation of Neem River in the district of Bulandshahr. A comprehensive channel cleaning effort plantation drive was taken up. The farmers were convinced to remove the encroachments on voluntary basis, and the continuity of the river was maintained. The third example here that I'm presenting is of the Sot River. This is basically in the district of Sambal. So here the river was transformed from practically non-existing puddles into a flowing river. The community-led dredging, desilting, and habitat restoration was taken up, successfully capturing the monsoon rainwater, preventing flooding, and eliminating waterlogging. Uh, the efforts on Sot River was also mentioned in the much respected program of PM's Man Ki Baat. The video is embedded here. I would request the team to play the video. Thank you. So now moving ahead, I would also like to quote here an example of our efforts where we have the district administration led team has made efforts this year itself for the rejuvenation of Noon River. Now this river is in the district of Kanpur. The challenges that this river faced were severe, including sedimentation, jalkumbi, encroachment, effluents come in the Kanpur from different industries. The rejuvenation work was carried on a stretch of 48 kilometers, origin at Kanhaiya Lake till its confluence, and was done under the Mandega. The river passes through three different blocks: Sivrajpur, Chaubepur, Kalyanpur. All the works were again done by the Mandega scheme. Next slide, please. The strategy involved first identification of the river, demarcation using satellite imaging L section image, stakeholder identifications like the Gram Vikas Vibhag, the Panchayati Raj institution, the revenue department, the comprehensive implementation plan, and again the afforestation, channel strengthening, and community mobilization. The key stakeholders involved were the revenue department, irrigation, and the NREGA. Next, please. Next, yeah. So these are some of the images that shows the process of the work, the community mobilization, the innovative works, the afforestation work, the channel strengthening work. The bottom image shows the pre-soil work before the plantation drive, very near to the floodplains. Next, please. Yeah, again, these are some of the images where people participation, inspection, regular monitoring has been done, and the images are showing the before and the after of the river rejuvenation and during the work of the river rejuvenation efforts. Next, please. Yes. So all these efforts culminated into certain outcomes. Now these outcomes involved ensuring Nirmal and Abral Dhara in the river, a pious sustained flow, a clear desilted channel. The project not only revived the river, but also generated local employment, including 25% of the female participation, and resulted in enhanced soil yield potential. Now, all these examples that I have shown here, all these success stories, the scope of work was limited in the sense that the funds for all these activities, they are mainly coming from the NREGA scheme. Next slide, please. So looking at these limitations, now what in the state of UP has been done is that the State Mission for Clean Ganga has now been nominated the nodal agency, the nodal department or the authority to undertake all the rejuvenation works. We have launched One District, One River program 2-3 months back, and we are coordinating at the state level with all the other departments that has already been mentioned in the previous presentations. Next slide, please. And we have shifted our approach. The important pillars to the new approach that we are taking is that we are trying to rejuvenate the rivers from source to sink. We are trying to rope in the irrigation department and the district level interventions. We are trying to have integrated soil and water conservation efforts. We are trying to have catchment area restoration. Now, the current status is that we have identified 75 different rivers in all the 75 districts of the state of Uttar Pradesh, and we are in the process of creating DPRs, action plans for reviving these rivers. Next slide, please. The successful execution of the physical restoration projects, such as the Noon River, demonstrates our capacity for immediate tangible river repair. But we also, yeah, these are few of the success stories, the glimpses that has been captured in the media. Next slide, please. Yes. So, so while physical rejuvenation is critical, it must be backed by the robust. It must be backed by the robust policy coherence and institutional alignment. So we are here looking at the policy coherence. So the first thing that we should have is the policy coherence, because the effective environmental management is hindered by the institutional silos. The present existing policy of the UP state water policy envisages this. Next slide, please. This has already been highlighted by the DG sir. where the importance of DGCs are very critical in this journey. The present limitation of the DGCs are that these are involved in mostly IEC activities and lack the financial or the funding to act as an implementing agencies. What we are trying to do here is that we are trying to engage the DGCs and we are trying to provide some fund from the state level itself so that they act as a implementing agency. Next, please. Needless to say that scientific afforestation is of utmost importance. Over the period of last 5 to 7 years, we have done significant plantation in a scientific manner so that we are able to conserve soil and the floodplain. Next slide, please. Again, this shows the floodplains of the UP. We have I have already discussed in the earlier slide. Next slide, please. Yes. So the floodplain is very important. The goal is to complete the floodplain zonation in a scientific way and in a time-bound manner. The current challenge is that the many states have enacted the floodplain zoning, but has failed to notify and physically demarcate these zones. Next slide, please. We have been able to do the floodplain zoning in some of the rivers. Some of the works are underway and under progress, which will be done in due course of time. Next, please. Yeah, these are the images from the ground truthing during our activities being carried out by the irrigation department for the floodplain zoning. Next slide, please. Yes. Now going forward, what we think is that this demarcation of the floodplain should be done in a very time-bound manner. And this demarcation, physical drive for the demarcation through these pillars shown in the bottom of the slide should be taken up. And simultaneously, there should be a digital integration with the digital VULEC records, like we have the VULEC records, and this should be integrated once this floodplain zonation and these pillars are in place. Next slide, please. Wetlands again are very vital for the blue infrastructure, providing flood mitigation, groundwater recharge, and water purification. UP has more than 18,000 wetlands. We have identified important 285 gangetic wetlands. We are having a tiered strategy to restore the moderately degraded wetlands, protect high-value intact wetlands, and reclaim degraded areas for the use of green infrastructure. This involves community engagement and livelihood integration. Next slide, please. This is just to show that we have been able to reduce the pollution level in few of the stretches of the river Ganga. Also, the census shows that the population or the numbers of the dolphins in the last 10 years has increased significantly. We have recently had a successful event of Mahakumbh, where more than 650 million of people took the holy dip. Needless to explain the grand success of Mahakumbh, we also received recently the Scotch Award for our efforts for rejuvenating the rivers and maintaining clean flow in the rivers. Next slide, please. Now, just to conclude, the endeavor to rejuvenate the river represents a paradigm shift by embedding the whole of government concept with ecological intelligence into planning and governance, building a resilient, water-secure India that thrives on convergence and transparency. The future is truly collaborative and geo-intelligent. River rejuvenation is evolving into a digitally empowered citizen-centric mission, utilizing GIS-enabled planning and inclusive decision-making, where every stakeholder becomes a custodian of India's riverscape. These actions pave the way for water security and climate resilience anchored in political will, coordination, technology, and community engagement. Thank you. That is all from our side. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhas, for a wonderful presentation. In fact, many takeaways from this presentation, and we'll try to incorporate in our actions which we work out as part of this outcome of this conference. Now I'll invite Sri Karan Singh, Joint Secretary NRCD, to sum up the proceedings and provide way forward for us. Oh, okay. Before way forward. Before this way forward, if anybody has any question to the speakers, we can take those questions. So anybody having question can unmute yourself and
So in case there are some questions, we can take questions. There have been a few hands which have been raised, but it's difficult to identify the speaker. So people can speak on the mic if there are any questions. Otherwise, we can move to the closing. I think let's move to the closing.
So closing remarks. Good afternoon, respected Archana ma'am, Sri Rajiv Mittal sir, senior officers from the states, help groups, and dear friends, my colleague officers. In fact, distinguished speakers have presented various aspects of the river rejuvenation and spring authorities. Uttarakhand has presented a beautiful example for establishing spring and river rejuvenation authority. From Uttarakhand, it is very good Nara, Dhara, Mera, Nala, Mera, Gaon, Mera, Prayas, Mera. It emphasizes and connect with the people. Regarding Maharashtra, Jasri Madam has presented a very beautiful example regarding River Rejuvenation Authority formation. It synchronized the resources in the whole state for river rejuvenation. In Sikkim, mitigation risk toward the climatic risk, very good example they have presented. Lot of insights came from this model. People, river connect, water, forest, wildlife. These are interconnected paradigms. इन्होंने तो गागर में सागर भर दिया because touched every part of the river rejuvenation and springs. कुसुम जी और कामिनी जी ने काफी अच्छा फ्रॉम ग्राउंड रियलिटी से सक्सेस स्टोरी सुनाया. बहुत ही अच्छा हो रहा है इसमें. रिचार्ज ऑफ वाटर रिचार्ज पे काफी इसमें वो किया. राजस्थान से डिप्टी कमिश्नर मिस्टर चौधरी केवला देव पार्क में, जो कि यूनेस्को हेरिटेज साइट है, काफी इन्होंने हैबिटेट रिजुवेनेशन के बारे में काम किया, बताया. नागालैंड से मिस्टर कोजा, रिवर बेसिन मैनेजमेंट इन नागालैंड. एंड उत्तर प्रदेश से श्री प्रभात जी ने सारा समअप किया इफेक्टिव प्रेजेंटेशन के थ्रू. रिजुवेनेशन ऑफ रिवर एंड स्प्रिंग्स, हाउ कैन बी डन. At the last, I thanks to all of you for participation and give the beautiful presentation. Just I want to request all of you, जो feedback note है template 2 में, annexer 4 है उसमें, वो हमें 7 अक्टूबर तक नीति आयोग के पोर्टल पे अपलोड करना है. और उसके ऊपर जो हमें इमर्जिंग पॉइंट मिलेंगे उसके बेस पे हर एक स्टेट ने स्टेक होल्डर्स कंसल्टेशन मीटिंग्स बुलानी है. हर स्टेट कम से कम 2-3 स्टेक होल्डर्स कंसल्टेशन करे. और उसके बाद स्टेट स्पेसिफिक नोट टेम्पलेट 1 अनेक्सर 3 में दिया हुआ है, वो 15 अक्टूबर तक नीति आयोग के पोर्टल पे हमें अपलोड करना है. उसके बाद उसमें अपलोडिंग नहीं हो सकेगी. तो दिस इज माय रिक्वेस्ट, इट इज अ टाइम बाउंड प्रोग्राम. फर्स्ट जो है वो अपलोड करना है 7 अक्टूबर को, और सेकंड टेम्पलेट 1 करना है 15 अक्टूबर को, जिससे कि सारा आपका जितना भी आपने मेहनत की है वो सारा नीति आयोग के पोर्टल पे चला जाएगा. उसके बाद फर्दर एक्शन है वो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति ने करना है, we'll do accordingly. Thank you all. Now we can close the meeting.